Today we are talking about birth control. For today's video, I wanted to do something a little bit different than our normal travel vlogs, and I wanted to discuss something that affects my day-to-day life here in Japan. So I'm not sure how long this video will end up being, but I just wanted to discuss my own personal experience with getting birth control here in Japan, because it's not something that I ever thought would cause me stress or culture shock, but it definitely did. So I wanted to leave this as an open discussion for anyone who lives overseas, whether you're living here in Japan or just in another country and you have to get birth control every month. What is your experience like? Is it like mine? Is it different? Is it like America? Because it just blows my mind how it affects me every single time I have to go to the doctor. Let's get started. First, I want to talk about my experience in America. When I went to the doctor, it took maybe 20 minutes. I was in, I was out. I'm not sure if that's a good thing or not, but I didn't need any extra tests. They looked at my health records and everything. They had that from previous doctors, and then they gave me a prescription. And every time I needed a refill, which I believe the prescription was either 6 months or 1 year. After that, every time I needed more, I would just call in and then I would drive over to my nearest pharmacy and pick up the refill. That easy. Now let's talk about Japan. First of all, one of the biggest differences is making an appointment. I don't know if it's the language barrier, but from what I'm told, the hospital that my employers take me to get checked at, you cannot make appointments unless you have a very special medical condition. I don't know what they consider to be a special medical condition, but getting a checkup is not one of them. Every time I go to the doctor, we go to the hospital, which is about half an hour away, so I'm driven to the doctor every time. We check in at the front desk, and literally you walk in and it's this huge room. There's tons of people waiting. So I check in and they give me this little slip of paper. So they give me this slip of paper. It has my name on it. Well, almost. Kelly Ande. My last name's Anderson. And then this is the number that tells you when you will go in for your appointment. Sometimes this number is much smaller, maybe 10. Other times I've been number 80. It all depends on the day. It all depends on how many people are there to see the doctors. One time I waited 4 hours to see the doctor, and it was because there was an emergency surgery that had to be done and there were no other doctors available to see me. That alone blows my mind that I cannot even make an appointment and have a set time to see the doctor. I have to wait and take a number and then go in when they call me. Another thing that blows my mind is that the actual appointment is only 5 minutes long. They literally ask me, how many more months do you want on your refill? Also, this refill could change based on whoever I talk to. The first time that I went to the doctor to get birth control, they told me that they could only give me 1 month, and then I had to go back and they had to do tests and just see that it was working for me. They did blood work just to check that I was okay. The next time I went with a friend who also needed birth control, and she said that they had given her 6 months. So I went in expecting to be able to get 6 months, but nope, only 3. I have to go back to that hospital every time I need a refill. I can't call it in and then go to the pharmacy. I have to go to the hospital and see the doctor first. For a while, I was only getting 3 months, and then one day, out of the blue, when I went, I saw a different doctor and she said that I could get 6 months. This just has changed so many times, and so this last time that I went, I actually went on Monday. I was expecting only 3 months and then they said, oh yeah, why don't we give you 6 months? And I said, okay. So that really stresses me out because I never know I never know how much money I need to bring. I always bring a lot just in case. And I never know if I'm going to see a doctor that is comfortable giving me more medicine or if they want to give me less. One time they said that it was Japanese law that they can only give me 3 months, and then here I have other doctors telling me it's okay. So I'm not really sure. Another thing that is so different is I never know what I'm going in for. So not only do I have to go to the hospital to get my refill, but one day they might say, oh, you need a cancer screening, or oh, you need blood work done. Blood work done for what? I don't know. So this last time I went, I got 6 months, which the prescription looks like this. I have a special prescription notebook. After I met with the doctor and she said she could give me 6 months of birth control, that I had to go into the next room and get a cancer screening. Then, when I was done with my cancer screening, they told me that I had to get blood work done. And they had to do 4 different vials of blood work. So, that alone cost me $160 for the visit. And then, on top of that, I paid $160 for my pills, coming to a total of about $300. And the last thing that is just, it blows my mind, is just the amount of waiting that is done. I mean, like I said before, you can't make an appointment at this hospital, and then you wait and you wait until they call your name. You're at the mercy of the doctors. I mean, I guess that's what happens in America, but I mean, you make an appointment and you go, and if the doctor can't make it, then they cancel it and they reschedule it. Another thing that they gave me is this card. So I bring this card every single time that I go to the doctor, and this is what they use to show like what I'm paying for. Every time I go and check in, I bring this card, I give it to them, they scan it, so the information on what I'm there for, like if I had any tests done, it's on here. Also, my prescription, the information is on here. So then when I'm done with my appointment, there's this machine, this card machine. I put it in, and then it prints me out another paper kind of like this. Except this time, this number is my number for when I get to pay. So you go down, you wait in the huge waiting room. I wish I could have gotten video footage of this. I'm waiting with all these other patients. They have this screen with all these numbers that are flashing, and you just wait until your number flashes up on the screen. You go, you line up, and then you give them like your card, you show them your name, and then they have a printed invoice of how much it's gonna cost, and then your prescription information. That is my experience getting birth control in Japan in a nutshell. It probably sounds way more dramatic than it actually is, but I thought that I would share my perspective of it. If you live in Japan and you have a completely different experience, I'd love to know if it's just small town Japan or if it's like this all throughout the country. If you liked this type of discussion video and there are topics that you want me to talk about, let me know in the comments below. As always, be sure to like and subscribe. We put out new videos every Tuesday and Friday, so thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.